Alderman from the 24th? 23rd, sorry.
You got it, 23rd. Yeah, I'd like to move the, for the approval of the
Oh,
minutes.
we're going to actually go back to the special order of the business.
Oh, okay.
Special order of the day now that the Alderwoman from the 19th is here. So with that, we will dispense with the regular order of business to take up the special order of the day. Alderwoman from the 19th, you're recognized on the introduction of Courtesy Resolution 189.
Madam President, members of the board, I'd like to ask for a unanimous consent.
We first have to suspend the rules since it wasn't
let's-
introduced.
Let's move to suspend the rules.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 19th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st, that we suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing Courtesy Resolution 189. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman from the 19th, you are now recognized on the special order of the day.
Thank you very much. Resolution number 189 deserves really no introduction because it has been in the history of the city of St. Louis for over 75 years based on the movements and decisions that were made, some of them supported by law, some of them supported by that's just what we want to do. And it was an atrocity against a community of Native American, because a lot of people don't know there was a lot of Native Americans that lived in that area too, but most especially African Americans, to relocate them, dislocate them at will. These were people who not only had homes, they had businesses, they had relationships, their schools were well taken care of, they took care of their children, and you didn't have a lot of crime there. That was another thing that we couldn't understand about that era. But we have a committee of people who have chosen to be determined for that area to be recognized and the history be told in the truest form possible. And for those of you who are present from the Mill Creek Valley Committee, I see Judith Arnold standing over here. Ruby Bonner, I think you're here. Barbara Martin, I see you're here. Is there anybody else here that I missed? I know Vivian Gibson was supposed to come over. But there's a long list of people who we will be recognizing as we move forward. Given the knowledge and the history of this, we know that we are beginning to acknowledge our wrong. And I want to give recognition to the St. Louis Soccer Park because they are providing a monument to honor it on Market Street. Okay. I want to also honor Harris Stowe because they're also recognizing what happened and they're going to have a monument on Market Street. I want to also recognize the Great River Greenway because they are looking at and applying recognition to this atrocity, and others will do the same. But what we want to do is make sure that the actual identification is noted for history, and we want to make sure that the history is told at any time, in any place that it is available to us. We must know our history so that we won't make that mistake again. I asked for you, I hope that you had a chance to read the resolution, and just for the sake of the record, because this is so important, Madam President, can it be read into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Clerk, if you would please read Resolution 189 into the record.
Whereas the members of the City of St. Louis Board of Aldermen hold in high esteem those neighborhoods that have contributed greatly to the history and culture of this city. And whereas the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood was a center of African American life in St. Louis, home to over 20,000 residents and 800 businesses, and whose inhabitants included Josephine Baker, Scott Joplin, and Madam C.J. Walker. And whereas the heart of the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood was approximately 450 acres and roughly bounded by Grand Boulevard on the west, Olive Street on the north, 20th Street on the east, and the railroad tracks on the south. And whereas in the late 1950s, virtually every building in that geography was raised in what was then termed blight removal and urban renewal. And over 20,000 residents, mostly African American, were displaced from their homes, businesses, and community. And whereas the City of St. Louis, in partnership with Harris Stowe University, the City Park Soccer Stadium, the Great Rivers Greenway, Brick Line Greenway, former residents of the neighborhood, and other stakeholders wishes to identify and recognize Mill Creek Valley and those who live there, and remind and educate the citizens of St. Louis as to the injustice that forced removal. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the St. Louis Board of Aldermen should pause in its diverse legislative duties and responsibilities in order to recognize the enduring spirit of Mill Creek Valley and its contributions to the city's history and culture. Now there be it resolved by this Honorable Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Louis that we pause in our deliberations to commemorate the history and culture of the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood and the disproportionate and unjust impact on African American St. Louisans due to its demolition. We further direct the clerk of this board to spread a copy of this resolution across the minutes of these proceedings and to prepare a commemorative copy to the end that it may be presented at the time and place deemed appropriate by the sponsor. Introduced on this 10th day of February 2023 by the Honorable Marlene Davis, Alderwoman 19th Ward. Adopted this day, February 10, 2023, as attested by.
Alderwoman from the 19th, would you like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 189?
I'd like to make a motion to please adopt.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 19th, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th, that we adopt Resolution 189. Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 26th.
Members of the board, I just want to thank Alderwoman Davis for bringing this resolution forward. I talk about it all the time how much of a nerd I am about history, but Mill Creek I study one of the most because of the way I used to hear my grandfather talk about it. And when you see people present on it, it's like you can really feel the spirit. When you see the pictures, they are amazing, inspiring, and encouraging of what we could still be, right? It had that not happened. And Vivian Dobson, I almost kind of follow her around when she speaks. And I love the way she says, we were here, right? We were here. So thank you again for bringing this resolution. I'd like to move that it be passed and by.
There's been a motion to by the Alderwoman from the 26th to and seconded by the Alderwoman from the 6th that we approve the motion in bank. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 20th.
The board. I too want to thank the Alderwoman from the 19th for bringing this forward. I just wanted to take a quick moment to recognize local Black artist Damon Davis, who was the designer of the memorial there at St. Louis City Park, and recognize that our city has an incredible wealth of currently living Black artists, including Damon Davis, Stan Chisholm, Valencia Miss V, the list can go on and on, Brandon Vaughn, Christopher Birch. We have such a wealth of living Black artists that I wanted to just recognize here today. Thank you.
Any further discussion? With that, I would like to invite up to the dais the former residents of Mill Creek to formally accept the resolution. Go right ahead.
We'll take some when we're done, okay? Some pictures, okay? Again, good morning. This is really special, and I'm glad that members of the Mill Creek Valley Committee were able to be here this morning. I know that this is an opportunity for them to also put this in the archives as they tell the history as we are moving forward. It won't end today. It won't end this year. It won't end the next decade. We have a lot. We have an awful lot that we must admit, that we must find some remedy to, and that we must make sure that everyone who has the responsibility of governing this city and this region recognize the needs and make sure that all of the policies and all of the laws that are put in place have equal justice for all. In this resolution, as you heard and as it was read, the good works of God I must give to you today. Because you see, he works in mysterious ways. I had a project in the 19th Ward that failed. The project was called Mill Creek. And I had assigned some capital funds to help the project. So take a guess where those capital funds are going to now. It is going to the Mill Creek Valley Committee. And if you happen to have a few extra dollars, they could use it, because we have to have the Wayfair signage. We'll have to have some medallions for those buildings of importance where residents lived in Mill Creek that were important to this country on a higher level of giving. There's a lot that has to be done to make sure that this is appropriate and that it reflects our city well, and it's something that people will want to come off from all over the country. For those who used to live here and their grandchildren who know about it, we want it to be done well. And I tell you, I got to say it again, God works in mysterious ways. How would you ever, you couldn't even plan it if you wanted to, that a project named Mill Creek failed, and it was already in my ward. I wouldn't have to go talk to somebody else. So it was real easy. So I'm very pleased today to honor you and ask you to accept this recognition on behalf of this Board of Aldermen and all of the many things that we wish we could do, but don't always have money to do. And look at where you're going. Most especially, look at what you've already accomplished. Vivian Gibson, in case nobody knows, raise your hand. She's already written a book about it because she used to live in Mill Creek. I love it. You're accepting?
I'm accepting.
All right. And please give us some words, Judith. Judith Arnold.
It's really something special when your work is being recognized. It's really something special when you are working with some formidable founders. Vivian Gibson, author of Children of Mill Creek, Dr. Malika Horn, author of Mother Wet, and our leader and pusher and facilitator, Barbara Martin. She brought us all together and made it very possible for this project to move forward. I appreciate very much the recognition that we're receiving today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think they want to take a picture of you guys holding your resolution, okay? If you don't mind, let's open it up so they can see it. Barbara, get in the picture here. Okay. I always stand in the back because I don't like pictures. I'll put her in front of the resolution, maybe. I'll hold her. All right, thank you.
It is often said that those who do not remember our history are doomed to repeat it. And I want to thank the former residents of Mill Creek Valley for coming today, for sharing your stories with us, for ensuring that we remember history so that this body may never repeat the wrongs of the past.